Namaste, Rev G. Sorry about not getting this up yesterday, but life with a infant slash toddler is Jack Russell is really interesting, but kind of goes a little bit in line with what I wanted to talk about today. You know, the fourth Advent, fourth Sunday, we just literally just passed the fourth Sunday in Advent, and so this coming Sunday, of course, is Christmas Eve. Although, well, you know, in the Catholic tradition, the Sunday, this coming Sunday, which is Christmas Eve, would be the fourth Sunday in Advent. So that's how that really works. But we're interfaith anyway, so we don't have to get so crazy with any of those rules and dogma. But in any event, the first one we talked about was preparing. And how do we prepare? We prepare by cleaning, by making room, you know, just like in the nativity scene where, and we're going to talk about this on Christmas Eve, you know, that's just such a beautiful story, the significance of the nativity, you know, where the innkeeper makes room where there was no other room. And you think about it in terms of like, you wouldn't think that we would place the Christ inside of a barn, but, you know, for me, as a horse lover, it's the perfect place for Christ. It's the perfect place. It's holy. In fact, wherever the creatures, the sentient beings, the four-leggeds, you know, in my opinion, walk, they are the holiest of the holy, and they are the saints and the sages for us. So it's appropriate, in my opinion, and I'll talk more about this on Christmas Eve. It is totally appropriate that the innkeeper would have the insight to say, yes, you can have the baby in the barn. You guys can go into the manger, have a manger. You know, and the manger is really was like where they would eat and drink their all the animals. Well, you think about barn animals, it's probably horses and maybe sheep and goats and who knows what, chickens. Who knows the beauty of that scene, right? So week one, we make a space, prepare the way, we clean our mind, body, spirit, right? We look at the cleansing aspect that is so important. Then the second week we talked about, you know, kind of setting the table. So what are the things that we want, you know, to the tools, if you will, that we want to use in order to make this space and bring spirit in. I said, for me, it was like candles, like incense, singing, reading scripture, doing service, things like that. These are the utensils or the tools in which I will help spirit come in. The third, last week, we talked about nourishment, because like when you're going to have guests over, you're always thinking about the food, especially if you're Italian. I don't know about, you know, I'm sure the other cultures too, but you know, as far as like the Italians, we start thinking about the menu for like next year, like next year's Christmas. This is what we're going to have. You know, we're always very food focused people. And so when, in terms of nourishment, last week we talked about what are the things that feed my soul during this time, and what are the things that bring me closer to spirit and let me feel spirit. See, I don't have to invite spirit necessarily. Spirit always is. When I say spirit, I'm talking about great spirit, talking about Brahman, talking about God, the one source of all that is. And that essence is in us. It isn't like I have to go find it. It isn't like I have to go invite it. It's ever present. It's more about me opening myself, opening the doors to welcome in, right? So, because the guest is always standing there, waiting to come in. In the same way, the guides, the guardians, the angels, they're waiting. They're waiting in the wings for us to engage them, you know, and open our door. So the last and final week, which is today, is for me to talk about now welcoming. So now we're getting ready to open the door and welcome in. And welcome in what? Well, I want to open the door and I want to welcome in the light. Right? I got a lot of dark going on, a lot of dark. And I think that I'm not alone. I'm not one of those ministers that gets up on a high horse and starts to talk about how perfect I am and that I walk on water and stuff like that. And that isn't true. Like the truth is that I'm in this human body, I'm in this human jacket, I'm in this, having this human experience, and I have a nervous system, and I have a reptilian brain, and all of these different things we hear about physiologically, and it's just like, no wonder it's so difficult to try to maintain a spiritual homeostasis, a spiritual balance, feeling grounded and centered. Oh, dear God, no wonder it's so difficult, because, I'm dealing with so many different things. I am energy, after all, right? So I'm energy, and there's energy coming in from all angles. There's expectations in my mind I place on things, then I get disappointed. All of that, to say, I'm doing the best I can. I mean, mind, body, spirit. But there's always more room. I could always make more room. The Reverend Laurie Cardona talks about stretching into it, like a yoga position, like stretch into it. You don't think you can do it. Okay, I've had enough. No, go a little further, stretch a little further, stretch a little more. So Rumi has this beautiful poem about welcoming the guests in. And sometimes those guests feel like lower vibrations too, like depression, like grief, like anxiety, right? Like disappointment. Rumi says, welcome it in, welcome all of it. There's a beautiful song, All Is Welcome here, the David Pramal number in Mitten. And it's beautiful. All is welcome. The good, the bad, the ugly, it's all welcome. Don't judge it. Don't criticize it. Don't try to change it. Just like be in acceptance of it. I think that's what it's about. I think it's about surrendering and opening the door, welcoming in whatever is happening, and to be in acceptance about it and gratitude about it. And I'll close with this, the angel story, wrestling with Jacob. Jacob is wrestling with this angel, and he thinks it's like bad. He thinks that it's like a demon or something that he's wrestling with. And he just keeps wrestling and wrestling and wrestling. And then finally he says to the angel, he doesn't realize it's an angel. He says, I won't let you go until you bless me. And of course he does get a bit of a broken hip as a result. But in any event, the point of the story is kind of like the Rumi piece, which is like welcoming in the guests into the guest house, whatever it is that's happening, accepting, surrendering to God's plan, knowing that God is God and God is in charge, and that I trust, and then I accept, and I won't let it go. I'll wrestle with it until I figure out, there's the blessing, there's the lesson, this is what you're trying to teach me, depression. Hello, depression, this is what you're trying to teach me, right? Hello, anxiety. Oh, this is what you're trying to teach me. You're trying to teach me that I'm in fear. Why am I in fear? Oh, it means I'm not trusting. Do I believe? Yes, I do. And you can see the believe sign, which is backwards. It's because I flipped the focus on this. But in any event, that does say believe, and I do. And so, if you believe, then you can welcome in the anxiety. You can welcome in the depression. You can welcome in the grief. You can welcome in, all of it. Like all is welcome. And you say, I don't want depression in me. I don't want it in me. I don't want anxiety in me. Okay, that's true. But we're wrestling with it. And if we just continue to wrestle and we don't ask the question of, what is this teaching me? What am I learning about this? What do I need to do? What's my part? My part has got to be acceptance. Some of us suffer with serious mental illness and serious mental issues that there's nothing we could do about it. We're doing the best we can with treatment, with therapy, with whatever is augmenting this for our healing and our transformation. But at the end of the day, maybe I'm not embracing this part of me enough. You know, not to say that I go back into the bed and I don't get out of bed and I don't shower because I'm so depressed and I'm welcoming it. You know, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's a lesson in it somewhere. This is a teacher. This has come as a sage to me. What is it that I need to learn about my own soul's evolution? Because at the end of the day, the soul has no depression. The soul has no anxiety, right? The soul is not grieving. The soul is perfect in and of itself, made up of the same essence and the same ingredients as our source, as higher power, as Brahman. Knowing that, I could take a deep breath in and go, exhale. Yeah, all is well. All is welcome. Acceptance is the key, and gratitude. Acceptance and gratitude. Two really important guests that I'd like to actually, I'd like to make them my doorman. So here's, I open up the doors to allow, you know, spirit to enter, you know, and welcoming in all the, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay, I'm in acceptance of it, but I'm going to put two guards at my door. And one is acceptance and the other is gratitude. And those two guards, you know, kind of like the Swiss guard at the Vatican. So, you know, they're at the door and they're guarding the door and they're accepting. One is accepting what is, accepting everything as the divine plan is unfolding. And what is it teaching? And then the other guard is gratitude. And gratitude is like, wow, okay, I'm not happy about the way this is working out, but look at how grateful I am because. And I think that that's kind of the message of Advent and the way in which we prepare the way. Namaste.